You guys have been pretty busy over the last, 2 weeks now? 2-3 weeks for you?
Feels like 5 minutes. Yeah.
It's gone by fast?
It's gone by fast. It's organized chaos.
Of course. Obviously, the big stuff as it relates to college football right now, early signing day. For you, how do you feel like you guys did?
I feel like it went great. I feel like we identified a lot of really good kids that fit I call them OKGs, like our kind of guys. Guys that fit the profile of kids that are going to, grow and develop in our program. Not necessarily just from a football standpoint, but just from like the human standpoint. Just got a lot of good kids. Now with the transfer portal, you got to make sure that these are guys that want to be here and want to grow up and develop in the program. Guys that want to delay gratification, if you will, and just want to be a part of the process of building a program.
Of course. Two of the guys that are already here that fit that mold, Jordan Clark, Ro Torrance, some guys that were here in the past. Just how do you feel like those guys can maybe make your transition a little bit easier?
Yeah, leadership, just being a leader, buying into what we're trying to do here would be great. And I feel like those guys have performed to a level to where the team respects them. Players respect them. Players look up to them. So, as we get into January, we expect some of those guys to stand out as leaders. And then, the players will follow their lead.
Being such a young coach, right, young recruiter, how do you feel like that gives you an advantage in this day and age?
It gives me a great advantage because I feel like I'm young enough to relate to them, but I'm old enough for them to respect me and take advice from me. So I feel like that's been critical in me developing relationships with the kids because I tell people often, like, the logo means something, and it'll help you from a networking standpoint, alumni base, et cetera. And every school's logo is different. But at the end of the day, the people behind the logo, those are the ones that make the difference. Those are the people that you're going to cultivate and build lifelong relationships with. And being on a football program, it's like working for a Fortune 500 company. And a lot of kids don't realize that a lot of the stuff that happens underneath this building transitions to the corporate America, the corporate world. So just being an extension of, from the head coach, and I feel like I can, gather intel, or I feel like they're going to be more, I'm going to be more easy to approach about stuff other than football. Your girlfriend, stuff going on back at home, how can I network? How can I talk to people? I just feel like, that's really why I'm in the industry, just to build those relationships with these young men from 18 to 22, from boys to men, if you will.
Of course. You are known as one of the best recruiters in the nation. Obviously, it's a big part as to why ASU went out and got you. What makes you such a great recruiter, aside from the fact that you can relate a little bit in age?
Yeah, it's unique. I mean, I was a kid that would always go into, I was walk to middle school and carry the sports page in my back pocket and, numbers crunching. And, I would want to know at an early age, why is Steve Francis an all-star? And then I look at his points, rebounds, assists, or stuff like that. And, I have a lot of background in, customer service, sales, marketing. And I feel like all of that kind of translates to my passion, which is, the game of football. So I just feel like I'm just so well-rounded from a customer service standpoint. That was my background. I was a bartender for 6 years in college. So it's like building relationships, breaking the ice with people. I know how to approach people I don't know. Like, I tell people all the time, I met my wife the same way I met the kids, in their DMs. So I know how to build a relationship from scratch. So it's exciting, and I was a big NFL draft enthusiast coming up, so I would always follow the draft. It's my favorite time of the year. But at the same time, in the NFL, you got to draft talent. In college, you just got to get them to sign the dotted line. So just building relationships and getting those guys to believe in you, is something that I find rewarding. And I like the marathon of the recruiting. This past week was cool. It was fun. It was organized chaos, but we get to pull that sniper out for that 24 class, and we get to really, key in on kids and recruit them for, 8-9 months. That's when I'm special. That's when I can get stuff done.
You mentioned that you were a bartender in college.
Yeah.
If you now pulls up to the bar and that version of you is behind the bar, what is that conversation like?
I mean, you probably have some TVs with some sports games on, just trying to, commentate, so when I bartend in Houston, a lot of sports guys, like when I bartended at Papa's Seafood House in Houston, it was right by U of H. So I remember bartending and, Cliff Kingsbury would come in and, Kevin Sumlin would come in, and a lot of people, because it was close to the university, would come in, and I would, build the ice and break the ice with them. I remember one time I had a conversation with Coach Sumlin, and I was like, man, I really would like to get into football. What should I do? And he was like, yeah, just come up and volunteer. I didn't even go up and volunteer. It was like 3 years later before I got into football. But just, that barbershop talk, at the bar, just, shooting the breeze, talking sports, just something that's really exciting, something I can do. It's like a, pastime for me.
Holiday question for you. Got Christmas, obviously, and then New Year's. Do you have any New Year's resolutions this year?
Any New Year's resolutions? I mean, not necessarily. I'm just excited about the process. These next 6 months are just super exciting for me to build the foundation. So I would say probably build the foundation of Arizona State, build a relationship with my room is something I desire to do early on, but really just build a foundation of this program moving forward and bring a lot of excitement to Tempe.